Hello and welcome back to another episode of the CrossFit Harrow podcast. Today we have Mistry, who has given up her time. So very nice of you to do that, Sai. Thank you very much.
No worries. Happy to be here.
First question that always goes out is, what brought you to CrossFit Harrow?
There's a few different things, but the main thing is I was weight training for a few years, and then I kind of lost my love for it, and then I was trying to find a new way to work out, and so I was trying boxing classes, Pilates classes, and they were all in central London. I was like, okay, it's really unsustainable to pay an arm and a leg to travel there, work out, and then come home. So I was like, let me try and find a similar gym closer to home. So I literally went onto Google Maps and I typed in gyms. So I just
we came up.
Yeah, you guys came up. So I was like, okay, let me see what this place is about. So I did a mini stalk on Instagram and Facebook and everything to see what you guys were about. And then I was like, okay, it looks interesting. Let me give it a try. So then I booked myself in, and a year and a half later,
Rest is history.
Here I am. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's interesting to know. So you heavily relied on the reviews and stuff and obviously what we had posted in that sense to make a decision. Well, at least we know that it's working.
You have good reviews, just to let you know.
Thank you. That's good. So you said that you had and you mentioned obviously in the notes before that you kind of had a bit of a falling out with the gym and stuff, and had change your relationship. It wasn't as enjoyable anymore. What was that? What happened?
So I started weight training in 2017. So when I first started university, and then towards my final year, the pandemic happened. So obviously all the gyms closed. So I tried to kind of keep up my fitness in a way. Obviously I didn't have access to heavy weights and stuff like that. So I kind of relied on going for walks and body weight exercises, which I didn't really enjoy too much. And then when the gyms finally reopened, I tried to get back into it, and I would enjoy it for a month, then hate it for a month, enjoy it for a month. And I went on that vicious cycle, and I was just it's just not sustainable for me. And it's not something I want to do. So yeah, I kind of went through that. And then I kind of was like, let me try a gym class. So I went to the classes, and I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't pushing me to what I wanted to do. So then I found some random boxing classes and mix of cardio and weights classes in Central. So I went to those, and I loved it. It was something I wanted to do. It kept me on my toes.
That combination.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And plus someone had designed the workout, so I didn't have to design it myself. I didn't have to put it together and be okay, I'm doing this, this, and this. I didn't have to self-motivate myself. And then it was just one less weight off my shoulder, I guess, having to think about it.
That's actually quite an underrated. I mean, I haven't really looked at it from that perspective for quite a long time. I did at the beginning, but so you not having to program or not having to think about what you're doing, it was quite a big factor in how you enjoyed it.
Yeah, because I feel if you plan your own workouts, you know what you're going to be doing. You can kind of do the things that you want to do and things that you enjoy. Whereas if someone else is programming it, you might not know what's going to be coming up in the workout, and you'll be pushed to do things that you don't enjoy, but at least you're pushing yourself and doing something and getting better at an activity. So for me, I hate burpees, everyone knows that, but when I do it in class, I'll do it. But if I had to do it by myself in a gym, I wouldn't do it. I'll do 5 and be I'm done now.
It's an infamous word of cherry picking, actually. That people, and I would imagine that it probably still happens sometimes through maybe with the days that not purposely, but I think in the back of our mind sometimes we might cherry pick the days that we go in and we're like, oh, we like the look of that one, we'll go in.
Yeah.
So university, it wasn't sport related. Well, in a way, it was health. You done masters in health psychology.
Yes. I did a master's. I did one.
Done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks. Yeah.
How much did you? What was your favourite part of that? How much did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed every single bit of it. Like the content was like really interesting, and it was like, for me, it was like a mix of combining my love for psychology and behavior change. So
Because that's what you done at university. You done psychology at
yeah,
uni, yeah?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I could combine like fitness and like how people change their physical behaviors, whether they want to increase exercising, decrease exercising, how they change their um habits in like eating or smoking or drinking. So it's like all of that just combined, and I enjoy all of like learning about all of that. So it was something that I
What's the I mean, I have no idea what it is. It might be something that I should know, but what is the COM-B model?
so
Is that how you say it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, fine. I thought it was like a trick.
So it's like different elements that are put together that help you change your behavior. And if one
Right.
of those elements is missing, then that's what kind of stops you from changing your behavior.
I
So
feel like I'm going to
see,
learn quite a lot in this podcast.
yeah, I feel like you would really like health psychology. I feel like that would be your.
Yeah, it's massive. I think, you know, but before we dive into detail of it, I think that psychology plays a massive part
Oh yeah,
in the words fitness, and especially the word CrossFit. And you often hear that people say like CrossFit is for everybody, but it's not for everyone, or not for it's for everybody, but not for anybody. In
yeah,
that sense, that I think that we look at gymnastics, weightlifting, and cardio, but I think there's one other thing to that, and I think that's the mindset. Like, you can be good and successful at CrossFit if you're willing to work hard,
yeah,
and put the work in and learn. So it's the psychology part of training is very underestimated.
yeah, definitely. And like this model, so the C stands for capability. So like, do you have the skills to be able to do that action? For CrossFit, for example, like, do you have the skills to learn how to deadlift? Like, do you know like the different movements and the different moving parts to it? The O is opportunity. Do you actually have the opportunity to go out and work out? Do you have the facility to go and work out? Do you have the money? Do you have like the space to work out? The M is motivation. So are you motivated to change your behavior? Like, what is motivating you to do better? And the B is, what is B? Combi. Behaviors,
I was going to say,
obviously. Yeah.
I hope you know,
Yeah.
because I don't.
Yeah. So it's like, do you want to change your behavior? Like, is it something for the better or something for the worse? Obviously, it should be for the better, but is it something that you really want to change? It's something that is important to you. So if you don't have like any of those elements, or you're missing one, it's really out of balance.
See, I think the motivation is the hardest one to
Yeah,
define, and for
yeah,
people to not necessarily measure, hold,
yeah,
because I think motivation is highly linked to two things. One, success.
yeah,
The more successful you are at something, the more motivated you are to do it. And
yeah,
then secondly, discipline.
yeah,
But I think then that links into the behavior part. If you've got
yeah,
those behaviors,
yeah,
you're going to find that you're quite motivated. And I think often whether it be for an aesthetic point of view or performance point of view, and we're in awe of someone and say, we want to perform like that, or we want to look like that, it's most of the time it's generally because they've displayed the behaviors from quite a long time ago, and not just like in the last 6 months.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I might be open to this degree.
Do it. I would highly encourage it.
So how long was your master's? Was obviously, was it 1 year after?
Yeah,
They're
one
all
year.
1 year. Yeah, shows how much I know. But what opportunity? So is that the field that you're in now?
Not really. Well, a little bit, but not really. So I work in healthcare market research. So we work with the big pharmaceutical brands, doing research for them. So not clinical trials, but we look at like disease backgrounds. So we will talk to like doctors, nurses, patients about their disease, from like the start of like symptoms to diagnosis to treatments and post treatments. We will like track our clients' products in the different areas against their competitors. We will like get to see like product profiles of products that may come up in the future, or ones that might have been like released, like say in the US but not in Europe. And we'll get like doctors' opinions on it, if they would use it or not, and like what type of patients they would use it in.
So you might use snapshots of your degree and masters in what you do, but it's not a complete translation, let's say.
Yeah.
Is there what would what would the transitional role be from doing that, from health psychology?
Well, we don't really get to use too much psychology. It's more like the skills we've learned with like report writing, because I had to do like 2 dissertations, so it's like you've got to like almost know like the background before you explore the area. And it's just really just putting together all the different moving parts into a concise way that's understandable for others. And yeah, I guess it does link to like health psychology in a way, because you can have all this knowledge about like how to change a behavior, but you've got to make it relatable to the consumer, the person who's reading it or viewing it, and be like, you know, label it out like ABC, like simple points.
Yeah. Would I be right in saying that like a life coach is almost like the follow-on role from the masters? Would that be an option for someone to move into?
Yeah, definitely. Because like again, I think, well, I don't know too much about life coaching, but I guess you're just helping someone change their behavior, change their view on life, and be like, you know, you can do this, this, and this. Let me help you build those skills. And I hope you have like the motivation and like opportunity to do what you want to do. So yeah.
How hard do you think it is for people to change their behavior?
I think it depends.
On
I think it definitely depends on like the way you grew up or like the environment you're in.
Right.
And if you're encouraged or you just have the opportunity to change your behavior and the elements around you. But on the other hand, like some people just don't want to change. Some people are very happy with their lifestyle. Some people like, yeah. So I think it just depends on you as a person. Like obviously there might be a part of your life where you're like, yeah, I'm never going to change, never going to have best behaviors. But then like, you know, one day it might switch. So, and it might be vice versa as well.
Are there certain traits that someone will display, or is this getting like really deep into it?
That's definitely getting really deep into it.
I'm just curious if there was like different traits or similar traits that people might display that show that they're willing to change behavior or recognize that from a health perspective, the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of people that know that they're in a position of ill health.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in that position that are unhappy, but maybe don't see that they can change, but comes from behavior.
Yeah. I think some people just think, you know, it's just too much hard work, or like what people want to see is results immediately. And like people forget that things do take time. And
I'm glad it's not just in this profession.
Yeah. I think just in like the world in general, and everyone thinks like things are going to happen overnight. But, you know, things do take a couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of years. Like if you think something's going to happen overnight, then you must be living in a fantasy world.
Yeah, I think we do get obsessed with measuring things like, you know, daily or weekly, and probably should look at measuring things on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
Even to a point of like every decade, because things change, right? As you grow older and mature and you become more experienced and wiser, you have different views and different stance on different things. The one thing I wanted to touch on too was the navigating through fitness and I had to look this up. This is how out of tune I am with POC. I had to look. I had to genuinely Google that. For those of you that don't know, POC means person of color, and I'm probably ashamed to say that I had to Google that. But did you, where you say navigating through fitness, have you, is that because you found challenges through that? Is there, what's gone on there? Has there been obstacles in the way?
I think like, so I'm like Asian and female. So that's like minority on top of minority, I guess. And like challenges automatically arise for me as it is.
Is that
You know,
through opportunity, through what, through everything in general?
I think just through everything, yeah. And one thing is probably like representation is like you rarely see a woman of color in sports, like anywhere really in fitness. And only in like the last few years, it's become like a real thing. You know, I grew up playing sports, but like I was pretty much the only girl in an all boys team, or like the only brown person in a predominantly white team. And that happened to me like during school, during university, and it's just something like I had to navigate and like put into perspective. Like I am lucky to be here. And
But I
like
suppose that
even
comes
in,
from sporting like excellence as well. Like you were obviously
yeah,
good at whatever the sport was and what you were doing.
yeah, definitely. But like even like in school, people like didn't want to play sports because like being sporty wasn't a girly thing. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really like it's not frowned upon, but slightly frowned upon.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
I can't remember where or who I was having this conversation with, but you know, if you go back, even probably still now at school, football is
yeah,
for boys and volleyball or netball is for girls, and it
yeah,
shouldn't be like that. All sports should be, you know, inclusive to um, whether it be gender or color. It doesn't matter.
yeah. So yeah, and like even during school, like I had to beg some of my friends to like join the sports clubs with me. I was like, come join with me, come join with me. And they'll come for a few sessions and they will stop doing it and I would just carry on. And then I kept doing that like when I moved schools a few times. And then in the end I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for any team myself. Like I'm not gonna drag along my friends if they don't want to come along. So yeah.
Do you think that that's why you enjoy CrossFit so much, because you're able to express your fitness ability
Yeah,
that, through the gym part of that?
yeah, definitely. And plus like everyone in the gym is of different ethnicities, different races. So it's like I see myself in other people. I feel included. And
Mm.
that's what I love about the gym. It's like so diverse. And like so many people from different walks of life. Like when we've had like team bonding experiences or like events on, you really get to know people and it's so interesting to like hear everyone's stories. Even with this podcast, it's so
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it is. This is why I actually started doing them. I think in 2020 was because I do believe that everyone has a story, and it's
Yeah.
fascinating to hear those stories and share those, because there's probably a lot of things that, you know, you may encounter that someone else encountered, and then when you see each other, you're going to be like, oh, I heard this, you know, I heard
Yeah.
you said about that. Um,
Yeah.
it is amazing, amazing to see. So I'm assuming that your studying is over. That part
Yes.
of, yeah.
It's way behind
Um,
me now. Yeah.
um, your hobbies. I think we spoke in the gym a while ago. I think they're new hobbies for you, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Something, yeah.
and probably even something like this. Has this taken you out a little bit of comfort zone wise? Is this something completely new for you, or is this something that you were comfortable doing?
Very comfortable doing.
Okay, fine. Just checking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for some people, it's taken them out of the comfort zone. Some people are okay with that, but new hobbies, for example, have taken you
Yeah.
out of your comfort zone. So,
Yeah.
you found hiking as your new thing.
Yeah. So like during the pandemic when it was like you can only go for a walk or whatever, I would go on for walks like 2-3 hours and like I enjoyed it. Um and then once like things started lifting up, like I Googled hiking a bit more and what hiking trails are near me. And there's one in Rickmansworth, which I've done a few times, and it's like a 3-4 hour walk, and I really enjoyed it. Like you actually get to be in the countryside, away from the big city, which is so nice because it's such a different change in environment. And then from there, I found like a hiking group on Facebook or something, or like TikTok, and
which is quite a big thing to do. I was going to use a very
yeah,
inappropriate word speaking to a female, but I shouldn't have. But yeah, it's quite a big thing to do. You're putting yourself into the unknown.
yeah, exactly. And I said to myself, like, I'm going to push myself out there, meet new people, people who with like a similar mindset. You know, that's what it was like coming to CrossFit Harrow. It was like completely different environment, completely like new style of working out, loads of new people, like put myself out there, see what happens. The worst thing that can happen is like I don't go back and that's it, you know? So put myself out there, joined this hiking group, and last year I did the Yorkshire Three Peaks Challenge with them, and it was like the best thing ever. Even though it was like physically and mentally draining, like the people around me were like incredible.
But
There
you've
was
got
like,
the combi, the motivation.
yeah, exactly, exactly. There you go. And it was just like so nice because I was surrounded by a group of females who were all similar ages and all have like very similar mindsets towards like working out, and like that whole stereotype of like females shouldn't work out, or like if you're a female working out and lifting weights, like you're going to get bulky. But they're like, you know what? Everyone says that, but it's not really true.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just
Well,
really,
because we were talking about that on the podcast a couple of weeks ago with Pardip, and
yeah,
it's obviously quite empowering. And I think it's I think it's admirable to see, like even the numbers that in terms of strength that you put up. And I think you don't mind me saying that, like
yeah,
a back squat of 100 kilo for a female is it blows my mind. It's like I think it's great. I think it's great to see more and more women getting stronger.
yeah,
And fitter, and not necessarily having that stereotype of like, oh, I'm going to look like a man or I'm going to be big
yeah,
and bulky,
yeah,
which just blows my mind. I don't know why that mindset is still around.
yeah,
You're only
yeah.
going to do that if you're willing to have the same amount of testosterone levels that men have. And I think the average woman who just wishes to work out and feel good about themselves and remain fit is probably not going to put themselves through that. So do you stay in touch still with the girls that you went hiking with?
Yeah, so like we all have each other on Instagram, and it's so nice to see. Like sometimes we'll meet up here and there. We'll go for a hike, or like we'll just like have a little chat. And like one of them, I know she did like a marathon or something, like a long running event. Some of them like cycle, some of them like do more hikes. But like it's so nice to like be in that environment and follow people who have similar interests to you, and like
Yeah.
you get to see like it's empowering to like feel represented and like surrounding yourself by people who are similar to you.
How important do you think it is to do fitness outside of the gym?
I think so important.
I agree.
Like even that, like you can be in the gym, go to the gym every day, and someone telling you what to do, but you need to be outside and like almost think for yourself and almost try and push yourself outside of that environment. But sometimes like the motivation like I have in the gym, sometimes like I put that towards work. I'm like, okay, if I can endure like horrible 20-minute workout, I can do horrible tasks that I don't like, and I can just put my head down and do it. And so it really like translates in so many different ways.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that we measure it. I think this is probably. I hate using the C word of COVID, but post COVID,
Yeah.
that's the only C word that I'll
Yeah, I
use
don't like
for
that.
this podcast. Maybe another one, who knows? But I think that post COVID, I think we became obsessed with measuring our fitness inside the gym,
Yeah.
and for those of us who do CrossFit and have long term known about CrossFit for a while, it is actually really, yes, in the gym. It's also about expressing yourself outside the gym and being able to take fitness outside the gym, whether that be things like, we obviously don't have the greatest facilities or climate in this country to do that, but things like kayaking, things like paddleboarding, things like hiking, rock climbing, all those things are still challenges or ways to express your fitness, and it doesn't just have to be how quickly can you move a barbell from up and down or from left to right. The Yorkshire Three Peaks. So do you remember the distances or anything like that, or the
I can't
the climb?
I
No,
can't remember off the top of my head, but you
just it was
have to
3
do
fucking big mountains.
exactly. And we had to do it within like 12 hours. You know, we started at like 7 a.m. and we finished at like 5 p.m. or something like that. And it was a long day. Like towards the end, we're all mentally drained. We're all like just done with the day. We're like, just want to go home, have a shower, and go into bed.
Were you
But like,
prepared, like food wise and stuff? Did you, or did you just think, fuck it, I'm going up?
oh yeah, I bought a lot of like snacks with me. I was like, I just need something to keep me going. I bought a lot
Yeah,
of sweets just to keep the sugar high. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so that was Yorkshire Three Peaks, and you've done you went to Portugal to do a hiking trip in Madeira.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was
how
really
was
good.
was that harder than the Yorkshire Three Peaks, or not as hard?
Not as hard because it was like spread over a few days, and we did like different
Okay,
hikes per day, and they were maybe like 4 or 5 hours long, so it wasn't too bad. And it's not like we were rushing to like beat a time or something like that. And
it
we
was more of
took
a
like loads of
leisurely kind
breaks.
of
Yeah,
hike.
yeah.
The
Um,
the reason I because the weather can affect like the heat. It must have been, if it was hot, would have made it a lot harder in that sense.
yeah. So like when I did the Yorkshire Three Peaks, it was a little
Pissing
bit
down with
sunny.
rain.
Yeah, it at some points it was like really cold, really windy, and raining, and just like really miserable. But once you get to the top, like you're on that high because you're like, yes, I've done it. In Madeira, it was really nice. Like we were so lucky with the weather, sunny the whole time. Maybe like a little bit of rain, but it was nice. We had some strong winds here and there, but it wasn't too bad.
Are you all equipped with big rucksack, anorak, hiking boots? Got all the gear.
I've got hiking boots, yeah. Got waterproof jacket. It was just about enough to get me
Yeah,
through it.
well, no, because I think some people underestimate actually. Like you have to go to these things quite equipped. I know in theory it's just like a little
Yeah,
bit of a walk, right? But
yeah,
it's not. You do have to be prepared. Like going up, whether it be Snowdon or the Yorkshire Three Peaks, you have to bring food with you. You have to even the
yeah.
right footwear. You don't want to be climbing up
Oh yeah,
that with shit. I remember. I think it was last year or the year before. Climbed Snowdon for charity.
yeah.
Um, for the kids that Connie works with with cerebral palsy. And it was amazing to see the kids who have cerebral palsy climbing up the mountains. But next
Uh-huh.
to us was like some women and even some guys walking up with flip flops. I'm thinking, how the
Oh,
fuck are
what?
you going to do that?
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, that's a different story. So, and then this year you're off to the Dolomites in Italy.
Yes, next month.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what's that going to consist of for you?
Another 4 to 5 days of hikes. I think about 4 to 6 hours each per day. Um, so yeah, it should be good. It's the same company that I went with to Yorkshire Three Peaks Challenge. So
Right. Are you
yeah.
meeting them same? Are you doing some of it with some of the same girls that you met?
No, some different ones. So like
New
it'll
group.
be yeah, new group. You know what? It'll be a new environment and like new set of mindsets around me, and like I can learn from them, they can learn from me. So it'll be such a good environment to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
in.
Just a great place to socialize and like
Yeah,
network if you wanted to, and
yeah,
just meet new people. And I think you said in the gym when we spoke a few weeks back about like new memories and experiences and those
yeah,
kind of things. I think we take it for
exactly.
granted, right? We get into a mundane like we go to work, we come back, we go to gym, we come back, we go to our favorite like brunch place or coffee place, and then we
Yeah,
you know and then we just it's good to do these things.
yeah,
Um, and the solo traveling part, I think that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
When did you start doing that?
So my first solo trip back was back in 2020 or yeah, no, 2021. I just finished my master's degree and I went on holiday. I was like, I need to get out of this country. I need a bit of sun. I need to treat myself. I just need to get away from home, get away from my room where I locked myself in to do my degree. So yeah, so that was my first solo trip.
And where did you go?
Tenerife.
Okay,
Yeah, I've been there a
keep
few
it.
times, so it was like something really familiar for me. So
Yeah, yeah.
nothing.
There's something about Spain that is safe and secure, that we just know what we're going to get.
Exactly.
Half decent coffee, a bit of English food, or someone speaking English at the bar or whatever, and good sunshine. I think Spain is just where it is on Earth is just such a good place to pick up the sun.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think
so Tenerife.
Yeah. I've been to Paris on my own. I've done Brussels. I've done Miami.
Yeah, Miami's good. I've been to Miami as well.
Yeah, and that's it so far.
And what do you look when you organise these things? What are you looking for? Is it just for an escape from what you're doing, or what is it? Is it something that those places that you want to go see?
First thing is I want to collect stamps for my passport. That's the first thing. Now that we're out of the EU, but
as long as they stamp in and out on the same page.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it's more just like get out of London, see a new country, immerse myself in a new culture, and just get out there and see what's in the world. Like do something different, and yeah.
Is it planned when you go, or would you just kind of book the ticket?
Definitely planned. I don't do spontaneous. Like I'm like save places on Google Maps. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go here, here, and here. It's all in a little triangle, so I'm going to do like that one day. A couple of places that are near each other the next day. It's all very planned out, very strategic.
And you went to Dubai recently. Dubai?
Yes, yeah.
Was that wasn't solo? That was family trip.
No, that wasn't solo. No.
And how do you? So when you do these trips, is training a priority for you, or you're like, fuck that, I'm having a week off?
It depends how long I'm going for. If I'm going away for like 3-4 days, like I'm like, screw it, like training will come later. Like it's nothing. Like I'm not going to really miss out on any gains within 3-4 days. But say if I'm going for like 6-7 days, and depending on the location, I might try and find a gym or something, or like the hotel has one. I might go for like one day to work out, just to move my body a little bit more. But otherwise, I don't really prioritize training too much. But I know, like for me this year, kind of every country I go to, I kind of want to try a new CrossFit gym. That's on my bucket list.
That's cool. So, that's good to do.
Yeah.
That's good. And there's loads of people that you get to meet at those places, and generally quite warm and welcoming and stuff as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was going to ask like how you felt your balance was with like life and training. I often speak to people on the podcast or in general, and we do become so like centered around training, and like our existence becomes around like being in the gym. How do you find what do you feel like your balance is like with that?
I think my balance is pretty good. I kind of put it around my work schedule. So like the days that I work from home, I'll go to the gym. The days that I go into the office, I won't do, because going to work, commuting to and from work is really a long work day. And when I come home, I'm like, I don't want to go back out again. And then like the weekends, I'll train in the morning, get it over and done with, so then I have the rest of my day, start my day on a good start, because like working out gives you so many endorphins. So I'm like, it's the best way to go.
Has it always been that way for you? Do you feel like you've always had that balance, or has there been times where you've been like really obsessed with the gym and with fitness and stuff?
There was one summer a few years ago where I used to like first thing in the morning go to the gym for like 2 hours and like do so many exercises, so many reps and whatever. And I did that for like maybe like 2 months straight, and I enjoyed it. And then it got to like towards the end, and I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I feel so tired, so lightheaded. And I was doing that 6 days a week. And I was like, yeah, not anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. It's good to it's refreshing to hear that like the gym's important, fitness is important, but it's not the be all and end all. It's important about having the balances of like the new experience of going and take yourself out of comfort zone with solo traveling, hiking, and socializing with your mates and stuff and whatnot. Yeah. What would you say is priority for you over the next like couple of years? Let's say, is it more the new experiences stuff? Is there something new on the agenda that you're looking to dive into?
I think definitely like new experiences still. For me, like my big thing I want to do is more traveling, go see the world.
What do you want to see?
the whole world. I think mainly like Southeast Asia is a big one for me, like go backpacking around there. But also just like keeping up my fitness and just like still being in love with working out and like not losing that part of me.
Would you do would you do the trip solo, or would you have people come with you?
I would do it solo, and then like I know I would meet people out there because I know like Southeast Asia is quite a big backpacker community. A lot of solo travelers, people like meet up together and go traveling. So yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a big step to go and do that.
yeah.
I suppose you'd have to take. Would that be a long? I say long term thing. Would it be like a 3 month thing? Would it be like a 1 month thing?
I think a 3 month thing. Yeah.
Would work let you
I feel
take
like
that? Do they know? Are they going to listen to this and go, no, sorry, you can't do that?
no, work would never let me. I think more than like 3 weeks is just about enough for them. But yeah, I think I would take time off or like leave my job, travel, and then go find another job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know. You might end up wanting to stay for a little while.
Yeah, maybe we'll just see where the road takes me.
Yeah, where the road goes. And what do you what is there anything else that you want out of like the next 5, let's say 3 to 5 years, where you want like objectives that you want to meet, whether that be career wise, whether that be personal goals, even if you want to relate it back to the gym, anything on your mind that you thought, I want to get there or do that apart from that trip?
I would say definitely like step up my career ladder a little bit. Because when I first started CrossFit Harrow, I just started my first like big girl job, like after like university and everything. So
Big girl
it'll
job.
be yeah.
It was an intro into the real world after
Exactly,
university.
yeah. The 9 to 5, actually having to work during the day.
How was that adjustment of going from uni to, let's say, I use a term real world loosely, but like working well?
Yeah. Oh, I adjusted it pretty well. I like structure. So like, working, 9 to 5, it gave me the element to like being able to do something after work and something before work, and just having that blocked out time. When I was like at university, like I would go to the gym at like random times, and there was no real consistency or something like that. So yeah, I like structure.
Was it kind of wake up whenever, go to gym whenever, study whenever?
Yeah, pretty much. Or it was like, do I go to the gym before I go to university and then come home and shower and then go? Or do I go to the gym after? Like, do I go during the lunch break?
Student problems, hey?
Yeah, literally. And now the
Student... Go on,
then,
sorry.
before I started CrossFit Harrow, like I went to a normal gym, like while working my 9 to 5, and it was like if I went to the gym like first thing in the morning, it would be packed and I'll be tired, and I'll be like, oh, I don't like that. And then if I went to the gym after work, it would be packed, and I'll be like, there's no machines and no space anywhere. So,
yeah, you've done a few 6 early ones, haven't you?
Yeah, when I first started, I did a few like 6 a.m., 7 a.m.s, and I was like, yep, never again.
Not for you.
Not for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some people decide that they like. I find it hard to do that time in the morning. We obviously just coming back from Croatia, and because I wanted to experience it, how the guys are going to experience it in September, I had organised that the first day we would go to gym like fucking really early, and that was a big mistake. I mean, the day's longer, which is great. You get to do a lot more, but fucking that was hard.
Yeah,
that was hard.
Like you definitely need a good night's sleep and a good dinner beforehand, just to have that energy to wake up and work out.
And we'd actually been traveling that day, which made the wake up like really. It felt like it was still the night before. However, you do feel great after. I have to say that. And obviously with the whole like cold plunges and stuff.
Yeah,
we were quite close to the sea, so obviously because the temperature wasn't really it was like how you guys had it at the weekend, like 22s or whatever.
Yeah,
the cold plunge in the Adriatic Sea was very, very cold, so that certainly woke us up after that.
Yeah.
But no, good, fine. that it's been amazing. It's been amazing talking to you and finding out a lot more about the journey and stuff that you've had through life and fitness. And I appreciate your time. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for having me.
No problem. We will see you soon, and guys, tune in next week.
Thank you.